The boys are back in town. This is LidLine Sports. Hey, welcome back. The boys are back in town. The boys meaning O, MC, and me, Pep. We are all three in the studio. What's happening, guys?
What up, fellas?
What's up? What's
Been
up?
a
Man.
while.
Yeah, don't call the cops. There's some stuff going on, boy. Wow, all three of us together. Woo wee! I don't know how to act.
We don't have a good party for the quickest hour in sports.
The
It'll be a
quickest.
party here.
That's right. The fastest hour in sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio, LidLine Sports. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for listening. The final four men are set, and the women are almost there. They got three in, one still remaining. For the men, we have Auburn, Florida, Duke, and Houston. All number one seeds. Only the second time this has happened in NCAA history. The last time that happened was 2016. Does anybody remember what happened? Because I don't.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I wanted to put that out right quick. I don't remember. So, all right. Somebody will remember. Let us know what happened back in 2016, which was what, 9 years ago.
Yep.
Man, oof. Man, but anyway, for the women, South Carolina, UCLA, Texas.
That's what
Yep.
Villanova won against North Carolina. I felt like North Carolina was going to be in that championship game. 2016. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I was like, huh? What?
North Carolina sounded about right, though.
Oh,
But
okay.
Villanova won the championship.
All right, cool. Good to know. Thank you. So was that Brunson in them?
You know what? That's a good question. Randy or Cadeno? That's a really good question. And now, like, I feel like I have to even
for
dig
Villanova?
deeper in my notes.
That was Eric Dixon, Jamar Brookett,
Michael Bridges freshman year? Or no? Maybe we haven't got that far yet.
All right. Anyway, so back to the women.
Yeah.
You got UCLA, Texas, South Carolina, and between UConn and USC, which is coming up on halftime, with UConn in control right now.
Up by 7, 28-21.
Cool. Thank you for that. So who you like?
Boys or girls?
Women.
Man, I'm gonna be honest and say I haven't seen too much women this year. It sucked to see USC lose Juju Watkins. I would have loved to see her and Paige battle it out right now. I'm gonna lean towards. Man, yeah, I think I'm gonna lean towards UConn winning it all. Just the pedigree there. Gino's still there.
Mm-hmm.
I liked TCU, but they lost. They lost to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna say UConn takes it all.
Okay. MC, who you got?
Oh, South Carolina still winning. I'm still gonna say UConn wins.
South Carolina.
Okay.
I like South Carolina. South Carolina or UCLA. I know. UConn got to get past USC right now without Juju, and it's 23-28 right now. That USC's marching back, so we'll see. But you never know. UConn is strong, but I like. Got to be you. Who's the defending champion?
Yeah,
South Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
So until they lose, I'm rolling.
Yeah. Well,
7-11.
whoa. Okay. Yeah, I like South Carolina myself, only because I'm a Dawn Staley big time fan, and I have been for a while, even when she was in high school in Philadelphia, because I was back, in that area back then. So anyway, that's why I roll with South Carolina for that reason. Do I think they're the best team? Not as much as probably in the past couple seasons.
Mhm.
Like last year, they went undefeated. They had some struggles this season, but they still only lost 3 games. You know, we call somebody that lost 3 games a struggle. That's pretty amazing. But I think UConn's probably the top dog right now as far as these Final Four. But man, that UCLA team, you know, they look like, to me, they might be the dark horse as far as if UConn or South Carolina doesn't take it, then it'll probably be UCLA, because they did beat USC when USC was healthy. That was a good game in the championship of the Pac-12. Pac-12. the what was it? The Big Ten.
Big Ten.
Thank you. Yeah. Big Ten. But they got like 15 teams. But okay. So you know. Sorry, somebody's
blowing you up.
Yeah, but yeah, cancel that. I'm not talking. So, well, I'm talking, but I ain't talking to you. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah. So as far as the men are concerned, man, all number 1 seeds.
Yeah.
Auburn, Florida. Now Auburn, Florida are matching up, right? And Duke and Houston. And boy, these are tough.
This is exactly what I wanted to match. I'm glad like these are the matchups because they're so kind of contrasting. Well, Houston and Duke are similar defensive wise, but you know, Florida and Auburn. Florida plays at a fast pace, and you know they can score with anybody. But they're long enough to be able to battle with Auburn. And man. After Duke, Florida has been the most impressive team in this NCAA tournament.
I like Clayton Jr.
Yeah, Clayton Walton Jr., man. He is putting on a show, putting his name out there. I heard it took some big money to bring him back to Florida.
Well, it paid off.
Yeah. So I know I said last week, Pep, to you, or was it the week before, that I said that Duke, I don't see anybody beating Duke the way they're playing right now. They remind me of what UConn's doing last year. They're just kind of breezing through this NCAA tournament. But I do think that they will have a matchup with Houston, who I believe is the best defense in college basketball. And it is going to be a dogfight. You're talking about a physical team that can get out and fly around the court defensively, super athletic, just imposes their will. You know, that's something that, you know, some of those freshmen at Duke hasn't seen before. But with that being said, the freshman for Duke has done nothing but show up against anybody. So I'm going to still take Duke to beat Houston. I'm going to take Florida to beat Auburn. And I told you, I hate to say this, man, but I think Duke is going to win an NCAA championship. They have just put together the best tournament run so far. They've done it on both sides of the court to slow down a team like Alabama to, I think it was, under 70 points. You're talking about the number 1 scoring team in the NCAA. That was impressive. And beating them by 20. That says a lot to me, and that's who I think is going to be holding up the trophy and cutting the nets, is the Duke Blue Devils. Most hated.
MC?
I'm rolling with my picks from the beginning of the season. I started picking, and I filled out my brackets. I got Houston and Florida in the final with the Houston team to win. And what I've seen in the last, I think when Houston lost that one game, it woke them up. But with the way their coach is coaching them and the defense that they have, what's the old saying?
Defense wins championship.
Yeah. And they showed you highly against Tennessee. And the game before that, how their defense is pretty dang good, and their offense isn't shabby at all. It's going to be a dogfight. I think the winner out of Duke, Houston will prevail, but got to play the game. But I like Florida still. But then again, they got to play the games. Florida might get upset too, because these are all number 1 seeds for a reason.
Yep.
And that's just my picks. I'm going to roll with that. I love their coach, Houston's coach.
Carl Sampson.
Kelvin Sampson.
Kelvin Sampson, yes.
And because I think his schemes and he prepares his team for every game. and it shows. And when you have a coach of that caliber, that can propel the team, and it's just gonna be tough. But I'm going with that. That's what I'm rolling with.
I like Houston as well because of their defense, and there's something about them that just looks to me like they're that team, right? Because there's always a team in the tournament that, whatever they go through, it seems like they're going to, they prevail over against all odds and whatnot. And they've been booking it all season long.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Mike, when they had that one loss, it kind of spurred them on. Like, okay, all right, now we know what's up. But the problem is they're playing Duke. And Duke right now is looking like the best team in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And Cooper Flagg looks like he is a man among boys.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't matter who's on him. He's just like, man, get off me. Remember those days in the park, playing ball, and and somebody's trying to guard you all tight. And you'd be like, man, get off me.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even guard me. And that's the attitude I see with Cooper Flagg right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mookie Hiller.
Yeah. Oh, God, them big old hands. Yeah, but so I'm actually rooting for Houston to do well because I like Kelvin Sampson. He's an ex-Washington State Cougar coach, and he's been around a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it would be nice to see him get his first one. As a matter of fact, all four coaches, none of them have a championship. So whoever wins is going to get their first one.
And you're talking about another great name on the other side, and Bruce Pearl for
Yes,
Auburn. It was
absolutely
a very talented and great coach. So, look, you can't go wrong with if you pick Florida, Auburn, Houston, Duke. I'm not mad at any of those answers.
No, sir.
And it would not surprise me if any of those guys win in. I know they're all number one seeds, but they are the best four teams in college basketball, and they've showed it consistently all throughout the season. So it's going to be it's good to see the Cinderella story, but it's also good to just see the big dogs just go out and just battle it out.
Yes.
You at the end of the day, you want to see the best 4 or 2 teams in the Final Four national championship. That's what you want to see, and usually, yes, it's good. What we do love about the NCAA tournament, it's one game move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it in this spur of the moment, it's who can put together the 7 best games. But it usually tends out that whoever was usually the most consistent and better team throughout the whole season usually wins it all. So it's gonna be really just exciting. I'm sitting down Saturday and I'm watching these 4 heavy hitters battle it out. It's gonna be a chess match between all 4 coaches. And I haven't been this excited to watch a Final Four in a while, honestly. I feel like last year, with what UConn was doing, it was almost kind of set going into the Elite Eight. I feel like how they were, smacking teams. This 4, it is unpredictable with these 4, and I cannot wait. Did you guys know there's already 500 kids in the transfer portal?
Yes, I thought it was 700.
Yeah, it might be more.
Yeah,
it's just going by the day, and man, I hope after this season's over, we can sit down and talk about this because this is just a new era of college sports, not just basketball. It's college sports, and I have some mixed emotions about it. Man, that's a lot. It's just day after day.
It's ruining the game.
I'm not mad at you for even saying that.
Is NIL killing Cinderella?
Yep. It's evident because
I know we're going to get smashed by making these comments, and that's fine because everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But we're all b-ball heads, and if you look at the game, it's destroying it. Just like we said, AAU is destroying high school ball. But this transfer portal and I love the NIL because they deserve to make some money. But they have to have they need to fix it and tweak it and get it fixed. Whereas maybe a player has to stay at least 2 years or something.
Well, I said I was talking to a friend. Okay, well, we're talking about money, and now people are having, problems with, just being able to leave somewhere. Something like 7 months, you're going somewhere else.
Right.
Let's be able to offer contracts, 1 through 4 year deals.
Bam.
I
like
think
that.
so. Now it's, if you signed a contract to be here for 2 to 3 years, you can't get out of it. You can't just go out and transfer. Now,
break the
if you want to
contract,
sign
pay the
1
money
year,
back.
yeah, or that too.
Yeah.
So what if they sign a 3-year or 2-year,
Mhm.
right? But after the first year, NBA comes calling.
I think that there should be NBA clauses. I'm okay with. I'm fine with the NBA clause.
NBA's calling and
Yeah.
you mean then they leave the
Well,
NBA?
it's like they're so phenomenal after that 1 year that they got. I mean,
that stipulation.
That's why you would usually see those guys who for sure, like a Cooper Flag, he probably would only sign a 1 year deal.
right.
And then if everything works out well, maybe I do come back. But for the most part, probably will be gone after 1 year. Now, the other problem is how many kids are with kids having agents now. No agent is really going to tell a kid to sign up 4 years unless that guaranteed money is so appealing to a kid that they may not be able to get if they go in the transfer portal and get that back. But a lot of these agents aren't going to, I don't know if they'll sway a kid to, sign on.
So how about mandatory 2 years and then everything else is optional?
Yeah. Or I think, transfer 1 free transfer fine after 2, you got to sit out. Like there has to be something along that lines. Is like I said, you're seeing kids, and I'm not mad at the kid who oh man, I can't think of his name. Mason. I can't think of his last name. Went to O'Day High School at Eastern Washington.
Noah Washington.
No.
Oh.
No. His name's Mason. I can't think of his last name. He was his second year at Eastern Washington, but he's now transferring to Iowa State. I'm not mad at that. That's a bigger level. He's done everything that he could, in the Big Sky. He's made a name for himself. He deserves to go, to a bigger level now and play. So there's just so much into it, like from every aspect and every level.
Yeah.
It's just new and it's different, and it's just so staggering how many kids on a year-to-year basis who are getting up and transferring. And I feel like a lot of it is going to be NIL based. I can go get some more money somewhere else because of what I did last year.
Listen, high school kids are driving Ferraris now.
Yeah.
Come on, seniors, juniors, maybe even.
Yeah.
Right. Going to school in Bentleys and whatnot because they got that money. They got that, whatever. So.
No, Rhonda, they already have agents. They already do. They have agents. They have representation now. They get that in high school now. It's not even just in college. They get it, but in high school, junior, senior year.
Yeah.
Before they start making these decisions. I just saw that Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks signed on as a general manager for the Oklahoma Sooners basketball team, and he is going to pledge $1 million.
Yeah, somebody else did too.
Steph Curry's doing it for Davidson.
Right.
It's a few players who are doing it. They're getting in on this game. They want to see their alma maters, achieve and get the players. And have the few resources they can to get them.
Yes.
So they're putting their money behind it. Now,
But guess where it's going to lead to?
What's that?
Being a GM in the NBA.
Yeah. Oh, that too. Yeah. I agree.
What did I say last week? I said right now these GMs from in all the leagues are the dumbest group we've ever seen, and maybe that'll fix that.
Yeah.
Right. Wake them up.
Yeah.
No, I agree. So it's just fascinating. I want to bring that up. It's just super fascinating in the times we are in college sports, and like I said, it's not even we're way past the era of ever seeing kids stay at one school for at least 3 years. Never will see it again.
Yeah, I mean, when me and Michael were younger, it was normal
exactly
for 4-year players like UCLA. That's why UCLA went to the championship like 8 years in a row. Because those guys had that group together. One group played for 4 years, and the next incoming freshmen weren't even allowed to play.
Yep.
They couldn't even play until they were sophomores.
And also you have high school, same situation. When we were junior high school and then going to high school, most of us went together as a group. I mean, when I went to Roosevelt, I had probably 4 ballers that played at Mercer with us. Just like when you went to Cleveland, you had 4 or 5 ballers that played with you.
Yes.
And we stayed at those high schools all 4 years or 3 years. and until we were done. It wasn't all this, oh, I'm tired of this coach, or I'm tired of this system.
It's not going my way. Let me leave.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like the assistant, or whatever dumb reason it may be. Instead of just saying, I love kids who pledge, I'm staying at this school. I'm going to make something of this school, even if we don't win it all.
Yeah, right.
And I'm going to make my name. I mean, there's several players that played in high school that did that, and I commend them. And some of them are in the NBA right now. But then you got the ones who didn't do that, and they're so used to just bouncing around. And what does that say to a college team when you see that happening to a high school player?
Yeah.
I mean, but it's the norm in college too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they gotta break that cycle somehow and tweak it, because it's destroying the game to me. That's, I mean, for me.
And for me, my last point, it just takes away from the phenomenon behind, especially men's college basketball. Like, you don't get the Caitlin Clark stories on the men's side.
Exactly.
You don't get the Angel Reese. You don't get somebody who has been at one school for 3 or 4 years, and they have a fandom to them as almost this legend-like figure.
Right.
I don't know when's the last. I mean, you get them from freshmen. Yeah, you get like the Zions who come in here for 7 months, but then it goes away. The Cooper Flags and all those guys. But it'd be nice, and who am I to tell a freshman to pass up on a $40 million going to the NBA? But it'll be so nice just to see one of them just be like, man, the heck with it. The NBA is gonna be there. Let me come back and have another year of college. Just have fun with it and just build a real legacy in college. But it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, because the fear of injury is always there. Always there.
I know.
So one thing I like about this is gonna be weird, guys, so forgive me. So I was watching Texas and TCU, and I seen a couple of girls. They're kind of big, right? And when I mean big girls, I don't mean super tall. I mean a little wide. Yeah, but look, but I'm not trying to be funny. But the thing about it is they're so athletic, and they move so well. I'm impressed with that. And it's like when you see a big man, it's not like that.
No.
They're usually, like,
robotic.
or they're ridiculed, whatever.
Yeah,
but the women, they're like, I like the fact that they're complimented and they move so well to be so big.
Oh yeah, the wow factor is definitely starting to lean towards like women's sports, especially women's basketball. It's definitely starting, like, we're more now excited to see how women are starting to elevate in basketball, and it's been super dope to see. I've always thought that on a scale, women are always more talented at playing the game of basketball. It's nowhere near as athletic. That's the big difference.
Right.
They've always been elite shooters from all across the board.
Right. They can shoot.
Great IQs.
Yes.
Just not, the athleticism is just not there.
Right. Yeah, they're not, high flying, dunking and all that.
Yeah.
That would be different. If they start doing that, oh my God.
Yeah. I think a lot more people would definitely be tuning in. And, people are like, oh, well, put the hoops down in 9 feet. And, I was one of those people who used to think like that. But then you start to think about, not necessarily a disrespect, but just, the craft and the work that they put into this game to kind of like limit them to say, like, well, lower down to 9 feet. It's kind of, putting a dent in their game. And I kind of took that idea out of my head. I love the way there needs to be no change. We've had this conversation before. The WNBA has only been around since the mid-90s.
Yeah.
NBA has been around since the 50s.
40s.
Evolution is going to happen, and we're lucky just to be alive to start to see it with the WNBA.
Yeah.
It's going to come.
Yes.
So,
I'm more excited for this storm season than I have been.
The WNBA as a whole.
Even when they were champions. I'm more excited for this season coming up because of the moves that they've made and the position they're in for the next draft. I'm pretty excited about it.
Women's college balls. Look, I go, me, I go to all kinds of high school games. Well, this year I only went to a few because I started back work, but high school girls basketball is becoming more elite, and it's flowing over into college, and then that flows over into the WNBA. And I see some thick, quick girls. I call them quick and thick, because I'm like, usually when you see a thick dude, he's not quick. He's just strong. He's a bully ball.
Yeah.
But these big girls are thick and quick, and they'll put it on you.
Yep.
And the only thing difference between them and the men is the men are more physical, so they can play more physical. But the girls got finesse. They, like Otis said, they can shoot. They got knowledge of the game,
right?
And they're willing to put the time in to get better.
Yep.
And I love that. Let's elevate the game. Let's have a all-star game, men versus women. You know, I think that'd be nice to see. You know,
but even be more fun though is like they, you know, I think women have always, you know, had the attitude that they belong on the court with men. So I think that'll be like the fun aspect of it, just to even see them wanting to compete. Like they're not going to run away from that at all.
That belonged on the court with men. Joyce Walker.
Yes.
You know, she
played on the court with her.
Yes. I played on the playground with her, you know, and you know, look, there was no let up, right?
No.
It's like when you about to guard Joyce, you didn't think of her like, oh, I'm just gonna back off. No, you better play some D or you're gonna get clowned.
Back off and get backed up.
For real.
Or even a name for me, I think she had a legend growing up in my age group. Yasmin Fuller. I don't know if you guys remember that name. She's around my age. So class of 09. She went to Kennedy High School, but when we grew up together pretty much. Our parents are really close. She was playing with us until ninth grade. Oh, she was nice. She was nice.
There was a girl at Roosevelt that was nice like that, and
Darnelia Russell.
The ones that got pregnant. Right? Yeah, but she could ball with guys. When I went to Roosevelt back in 77, 78, 79, there was girls that open gym that would ball with us, and they played on the girls' team, but they could ball.
Yes.
And look, if you backed off of them, you got talked about because they would hoop you up.
Yep.
And I was like, oh no, I'm touching your
Gloria Carter.
Oh yes. But
Jennifer Carter.
I had hands all on them just like they were dudes because I'm like, you're not embarrassing me.
Yeah.
No.
Look, the WNBA, all these WNBA teams, they go and get a group of men to practice with.
They do. So, my nephew practiced with the Storm because he was coaching at Lakeside with Tavio, and they would go to the Storm's practice with the Storm. And that's how they get. That's why they get better.
They still do it. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Good stuff, guys. So when we come back, we're going to talk some baseball, some NBA, and yeah. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Rainier Avenue Radio, LidLine Sports.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not driving my sweet AMC Pacer through the car wash, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. You missed a spot.
Sediment cleanup of the lower Duwamish River has begun. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the members of the Lower Duwamish Waterway Group, which includes King County, the City of Seattle, and Boeing, have begun sediment cleanup of the Lower Duwamish Waterfall Superfund site. This important environmental project will address sediment pollution and help restore the health of the Duwamish River. Starting on the waterway's upper reach, construction activities extend from the South 102nd Street Bridge down straight to the Duwamish Waterway Park. Over the next 3 years, in-water activities will occur from October to February, ending in February 2027. Visit ldwg.org to learn about the upper reach cleanup and sign up for email updates.
Hey y'all, it's Traffic Jam with Kareem.
Thursday at 4 p.m.
Hey, Traffic Jam. Rainier Avenue Radio, download the app so you don't miss out what's popping on Crackers Channel. It's your boy, Cream the Dream, on another beautiful week on here on Traffic Jam in Seattle. I hope you guys doing what you're supposed to do, being you're supposed to be. I got a good show for y'all, a lot to talk about, Kareem the Dream, keep up with everything.
Get your entertainment news with Kareem on the Traffic Jam, Thursday at 4 p.m.
Tune in to Real Estate and Money every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3 here on Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Join your hosts Violetta Strash with John L. Scott Kent North and Tina Lombard with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. They'll help you navigate the waters of our volatile real estate market and offer you some guidance on how to make your hard-earned money work to make your dreams come true. Learn about current trends, get tips on financial matters, and have fun, interactive discussions about your home inside and out. That's Real Estate and Money.
How is the air quality in your neighborhood? Do you feel comfortable breathing the outdoor air? We want to hear from you. The Puget Sound Clean Air Agency is hosting a community workshop in King County to shape the comprehensive climate action plan. And your input matters. Share your concerns, ideas, and lived experience with air pollution in your community. No expertise needed, just your voice. Register now at pscleanair.gov/CPRG. Participants may be eligible for reimbursement for their time. Be part of the solution. See you there.
Paul Pearson, host of Star Time, and this is my real voice. Honest. You're hearing it on Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Should have told her you were sorry.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming back with us. Going to give a couple of shout outs. Rhonda Dorsey, Nancy Conyers, Bill Walker Jr. What's happening, everybody? Thank you for listening to us. You heard us at the beginning of the show. I'm Pep, and of course, O and Mike are here in the studio with me. I'm very pleased about that. It's always fun to have my guys with me. You know, it's cool when when they're remote, but I get a better vibe when they're both in the studio. So you maybe you could tell. I don't know. Daniel, man, I don't know if you get the same vibe from you, bro. Whoa. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, let's talk about some baseball. And Major League Baseball got underway last Thursday, opening day. Well, the official, I should say. The Dodgers and the Cubs, I mentioned last week, opened up in Japan a week before, with the Dodgers taking both of those games in Japan, and the Dodgers have yet to taste any kind of defeat, as they are 5-0, 6-0, something like that. They just swept the Tigers. The Tigers are now here in Seattle, beating up the Mariners, which is no surprise. We'll get into them in a second. But the Bronx Bombers, my team, the New York Yankees, torpedoed literally the Milwaukee Brewers 3 straight, and the last 2 games they won 20-9 and 12-3. 9 home runs on Saturday. Yeah, 9 home runs Saturday. And the first 3 pitches by Nestor Cortez, ex-Yankee, went deep, hit the seats. 3 home runs, and then he gave up another home run in that inning as well. So they had 4 home runs in that, and dang near half the total in 1 inning in that game. So I'm happy to see my Bombers doing well. Because since we lost out on Juan Soto and some pitching, we lost Garrett Cole for the year. So it's kind of it didn't start off so well as far as how things were going to look. But right now, Paul Goldschmidt has fit right in. He's been hot the last couple of games, so I'm happy to see that. So, of course, look, they're going to run into issues. It's 162 games. Yep. So they're not going to go 162-0. No. The Dodgers might, but I don't think so. Yeah.
It's just really scary for the Dodgers because they're still missing 2 pitchers, and one is Shohei Ohtani, and then the other is just Mr. Done It All and Clayton Kershaw. Yeah. So it's like, man, it is safe to say that they will probably
be back
to the World Series. But things happen. But on paper and in real life, they are really freaking good.
What's up with the new bats?
Yeah, so what are they called? Torpedo bats?
Yeah, I've seen a picture.
I'm still confused on exactly what. Yeah,
no, they are. They said I seen the thing, and they said they're legal. So people need to stop complaining and start buying some torpedo bats.
No, yeah, some other teams are starting to order them.
I know one.
But let's not get overboard. Only 2 guys were using them.
Yeah,
it was.
I think it was 3. 3.
Okay,
yeah.
So Jazz,
maybe 4, maybe 5.
No, the whole team wasn't using them though. No,
Judge is not one of those that's using
Yeah, he
it.
has his own
Jazz Chisholm,
was.
and Volpe, Anthony Volpe,
Mhm.
was using it. So
Yeah, don't blame it on.
Nah,
don't blame it on no dang bad.
Yeah, it's
Come
not.
on.
I mean, first of all, we already
blame it on the pitchers.
I know. First of all, we already know the Yankee Stadium is a hitter friendly park.
Exactly.
We know that, number one.
Exactly.
Number two, just like you said, this was a team that was a really good hitting team last year, and
Right.
especially in Aaron Judge. So there's no surprise there. And just like you said, Pep, he's not even the one using the bat. So
Right.
no need to try to do any looking under the rug. And
Mariners
see if
need to make
anything's
a
going
call.
on. They
Right.
need to go get
Exactly.
15 of them,
If,
not just 9.
not just 2,
Not just
3,
11.
Yeah, the whole team need to bat with them.
Yeah.
But I think the Yankees are always a great hitting team.
Yeah.
As long as they can stay healthy.
Mhm.
It's when they have those injury bugs is when they start to dip a little bit.
Yep.
So you can, I mean, I was just asking about the bats because everybody else is making this big stink about bats. And I'm like,
Sure.
tomato. I mean, come on. If you took the NBA basketball and made them start playing with the ABA basketball, and one team was getting hot with it, and then you'd be like, "Oh, they're using the ABA."
Yeah.
It's not the ball; it's who's shooting the ball.
Right.
Because I bet you one thing: the Mariners have 7 of them bats, and they still put up as many runs as they put up over the last weekend.
Bam.
So
Bam.
Yeah, let's get into the Mariners real quick. Mariners had a 4-game set with the Athletics of the A's. So it's disappointing to the fact that, they split the series, which to me, you're playing the A's, you need to beat them 3 or if not 4 times. But okay, 3 times at the very least. Well, they didn't get that. And the fact that they struggled hitting against the A's, who's a pedestrian pitching staff, right? I mean, you batting 174 against the A's. Really? At home.
yeah,
Really?
I like Luis Severino, but he's now in his latter years of his career, so that's their age.
Yeah, well, but you expect them to be tough.
Yeah.
But the other 3, come on, man.
Yeah, no. I agree with you wholly. And, I just told you guys off the air that, to me, with the Mariners, just watching these guys the last 4 games, it was literally almost like this was just literally a carryover from last season. There was no gap, and I didn't see if anybody gotten better, or it was literally just the next game. It was just the next series just ending off from last year. And look, it's early, but for me, like I said, it was almost just like a chuckling moment as those 4 games went on, because it's the same thing again.
I'll give you a ray of hope, though. And I'll give you this because you're wearing your Mariner jersey, and I don't want to be Debbie Down too bad. But you called it last week where you said the pitching was going to do good.
Yeah.
There's only one game out of the series that the pitching wasn't good, and you know why the pitching wasn't good that one game? Is because they were experimenting, trying to find out who was a better closer. So you got to do that early in the season to find out who, for longevity, to see who you're going to bring in and who you might need. But all the other games, the pitching was doing their job. It's just what I told you when I chimed in last week, that the bats are not waking up. The bats are the bats. Every year we'll get a game where they score 10 runs, 7 runs, and then the next 5 games, 1 run, 2 runs, maybe 3, or, they'll win 2-1. And like Pepe said, this is not a victory for me. When you play the A's, you got to stomp them. And if you don't stomp them, at least win 3 games out of the 4 games. But when you take and they barely won the split.
Yeah, because the last game
was
it was
2-1.
It took a Julio 2-run home run in the 8th, 7th inning.
Yes.
To win that 8th
So
inning.
I mean, there's got to be something. Something's got to happen, else you're going to see the same thing over and over again.
And look, you guys are surprised that the series went tied, or I'm not. And it's not just a testament that I think the A's are a solid young team. The Mariners aren't, with the bats hitting like that, they're never going to put up enough runs for them to ever be comfortable going into the latter innings. It's majority of the time, it's always going to be a close game.
That's sad.
And when it's always a close game going into the 6th, 7th innings, anything can happen.
Right.
Especially when, the bullpen is up and down like it was last year. It was in that game against the A's when they won 7-0. But But like I said, the script for me when it comes to the Mariners, no hits, maybe get somebody on base here, third inning, fourth inning, maybe get somebody to second base, never can be able to get hit a run in, and then we'll go cold from fifth through the seventh inning. Then here comes the eighth. We're in desperate mode, and we'll get maybe 1 to 2 runs to maybe get us tied, close, or over the hump. And then Munoz, who is one of the better closers in the game, will come and do his job. But the problem is, you're not going to win games only putting up 2 to 3 ones or 1-1. It's not going to happen.
Well, you know what the score is right now?
Well, right now it's top 3. The
Oh.
kitty, the kitties from the Motor City
Yeah.
are up 7-1.
Mhm.
And they've got 10 hits, and the Mariners have 1.
See?
So I don't want to hear about April or March, wherever month we're in, about hitting in T-Mobile, because it ain't affecting the Tigers none.
Nope.
And folks, the Tigers came in here having been swept down in warm, sunny LA, right? They lost all 3 games to the Dodgers, and here they come. They come up here and got 6 runs in the first inning, and it's lights out already. Because look, the Mariners aren't coming back.
No.
Where do
No.
you see that at?
No.
Yeah.
When they're down more than 4 runs,
Forget it.
it's pretty much a wrap.
Yeah, get ready for tomorrow.
Yes.
And I know you bring up that the Tigers lost to they got swept by the Dodgers. I saw 2 of those games. Those guys are really good. And I mean, this was a team that also played really well in the playoffs last year. Won, or did they get?
Yeah, they won a series.
Yeah, won a series. They're really good. And now this is that thing
We're
again.
finding out.
Yeah, but then just like you said too, you go down and play a really good team and get swept like that, you're gonna come up here looking for blood. And game 1, Mariners just aren't ready. And
That's just what Pepe told me when we were
Uh-huh.
talking the other day. He
Uh-huh.
said, "Man, Carter, guess what?" He said, "Man, the Tigers got swept by the Dodgers, but trust me, they come into the Mariners' home stadium, and they're gonna have vengeance. And boy, do they got vengeance!" And you called it. You told me exactly what was going to come down, and I was thinking, okay, they got swept by the Dodgers. Beginning of the season, they'll still be trying to feel their way. Well, they felt their way right up the Mariners' skirt, man.
Yep.
I'm
And
like, whoa.
I'm gonna tell you guys this now. They're not gonna win this series if they lose today.
No.
They may win tomorrow, maybe, but Therese Kubal, who was
no, they're not winning that
on
game.
Wednesday, so
No.
they're not gonna win that game.
No.
Plus, he's because he went to school here.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he went
Oh,
to
he
Seattle.
learned
He went to
something new
Seattle
every day.
U.
I did not know.
Yes.
That. Wow.
He's local.
Okay.
So he gonna come out the gate.
Yeah, so you might as well forget that game.
Right.
Yeah.
You better hope you win Wednesday.
Yes.
So there'll be
Or get
2.
swept.
There'll be 2 series that we won't be winning going into San Francisco this weekend. Who's also they made some moves over the offseason. They've gotten better.
So let me ask you guys this quick question,
Mhm.
both of you guys.
Mhm.
So this guy at work, he's a Mets fan, and yada yada yada. And so my objective to him was, even though it's early in the season, they play 100 and some games, 162 games or something like that. It still matters how you start out in the beginning of the season, because it sets a precedence. If you start out losing series and barely scoring, it means you got to work that much harder to try to get better.
And then you get more pressure on you.
Yep.
Yes.
I was about to say, especially for the Mariners, we're talking about a team who's had to claw out of holes for the last 2 years now when it comes to trying to get into the playoffs. So it is very important for the Mariners to get out to a good start, which is so weird because when they weren't winning, they were getting off to good starts,
Right.
but then slowly demising
Right.
and not making the playoffs. So now, when we have all this pressure on us and we're supposed to be good, now we can't get off to good starts.
And you're exactly right, because me and Pepe used to say this all the time. Because I used to go to the Mariner games almost every game. My father-in-law worked there. We got free tickets. My buddy would come in from Texas, or my cousin would come in from Texas. Let's go to the Mariner game. I go all the time and be excited. But then all of a sudden it clicked, and I was like, I can't get excited for this, because these guys, they did exactly what you said. They some years they would start out fast, and come mid-season, they would start losing, or vice versa. They start out slow. They work so hard through the rest of the season, and what happens in the end of the season? They're 1 or 2 games short of the playoffs. So it's showing that it's the same old, same old. I mean, give us something.
Yeah. Thank you, Doreen. She just told us that the M's have ordered some of the torpedo bats already. So that's good news. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that's going to help,
Right.
but it sure might. Hey, look, you got to do something.
Try something.
You got to do
The
something.
cheap Mariners would rather go buy some bats instead of spending money on this roster.
That's
It's
crazy.
I don't know. Like I said, Pep, and MC, that I love the Mariners, and I try my best day by day to pump some hope into these guys. But like I said, you guys are realistic, and you guys are spot on when it comes to the Mariners, and I know it. But it's not a promising start. So.
We've seen it from the beginning
Yeah.
when we were
Thank
kids.
you.
When we were kids and we were watching games at Sixth Stadium, and me and Pepe literally cried when the Brewers took our pilots. We're like,
Yes.
that's our team. What? And so from that point on,
Oh, I still have a grudge with them.
so I can't stand the Brewers. But we've seen it from the beginning. And then when we got the Mariners, we're like, oh, sweet. They built the Kingdom. We had games. But then you start watching this recycle of okay, I'll give you a prime example. When the Mariners played in the Kingdom and then they built Safeco, and they had that really, really great season with
116.
yes.
Mhm.
And
Didn't even make to the World Series.
and what happened after that, though? They started dismantling
Yep.
players and doing this and that. And it's like, how can you believe in something like that? I mean,
It's hard.
I mean, God Almighty, we want money. I'm the first person that would love to eat crow and have people talk crap to me because
Agreed.
the Mariners are doing the opposite of what I'm saying. But I'm not worried about it no more. Not at all.
I have a cousin who is a big Mariners fan. He's younger than me, so I tell him about the late 90s and the early 2000s,
Mhm.
and he wonders why I'm like so even killed when it comes to Mariners. It's like I just know this is what we're going to do. I'm giving you the script.
Right.
I'm glad you're hopeful, but
Right.
this is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Mike, you were absolutely right. I told you, Sunday we were texting. I said, don't worry, the Tigers are going to come up here and murder us. Well, it's not hard to. Listen, I'm not psychic or I'm not overly smart. I just know my team, right? I know them.
Right.
This was not hard. It was shooting fish in a barrel making that prediction. I mean, anybody that follows the team knew this. It ain't just me. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there like, yeah, I already know what's going to happen. Detroit's going to come up here and smoke us. And tomorrow when Scooble comes and pitches like probably a shutout,
Right.
Pitches Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday.
Oh, well, we're definitely losing that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And that's a getaway game. You want to win those.
Right.
So we're definitely losing the getaway game. And I don't know. Listen, right now, the guy that's pitching for the Tigers, he's never pitched. He's never started before. And they got one hit against a guy that's
2-7 now. They scored one.
They won't score again until the 8th inning.
Yeah, they won't score again to the 7th, 8th inning, whatever. But anyway, let's get off of them. Let's talk about some NBA real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to pose this question. Why in the world did the Memphis Grizzlies fire Taylor Jenkins now?
Pep, I try not to be like that guy who goes and fishes through answers through rumors. I don't have an answer, Pep. The most that I've heard rumblings about, but once again, I won't say if it's fact or fiction. But the head coach is there, who's there now, who's the interim coach.
Who is it?
I forgot his name. But he got brought in this season to be kind of like the offensive coordinator or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've heard was that John Morant was not liking Taylor Jenkins' offense. But it's April, and we're about to make the playoffs, not the play-in. We're in the playoffs.
Is this a worse situation than when the Bucks fired Adrian Griffin last year when they were 17 games over 500?
Oh yeah.
You know what it is? We talked about it last week, you guys. Fellas, we talked about this last week.
What did we talk about?
It was we said that the GMs and diva players are destroying the NBA.
Yeah.
When you start giving players that much control, whether it's facts or fiction, we don't know. It's got to be something, though, right? Are these GMs who know squat dilly about the sport? All they know is about how to spend their money to make money.
Yeah.
When you got them pulling plugs like that, it's ludicrous. It's ruining the game. When driving here, I was trying to think of a way that I could sugarcoat it or, make it seem like, okay, it's not as bad as we think it is. It is. You got Memphis at a number 5 seed where the playoffs are right around the corner, and you're going to snatch the coach out who's helped you to get to the 5 seed because a player's not happy.
And he's always out anyway.
Exactly. And my thing is, too, this was probably the forefront guy who is even the reason why the Grizzlies were able to get out of the hole of being a bad team for a while. Taylor Jenkins was a big part of that. And he's not going to be a coach who's sitting on the sideline for a while.
No.
Once these vacancies start coming out, he's going to be the person that a lot of these teams call. And I'm sure, and I'm glad, what I am really glad about when it comes to the NBA coaches, they are a brotherhood and they all stand for each other.
Right.
So I don't think anybody has anything bad to say about Taylor Jenkins outside of whatever the Memphis Grizzlies roster or whatever was going on. The Memphis Grizzlies front office are not going to tell us, especially right now.
No.
They got too much on their plates. But just like you said, Pep, I have never seen a coach of a team who is in a playoff mix, about to make a playoff run, fire a coach. I don't know if you guys seen that in your guys' time.
No.
I've never seen that before. Now,
I'll tell you the craziest thing we saw recently in the last few years is the coach of the year getting fired. And that was when Detroit fired.
Oh, yeah.
Was it
Monty Williams?
Yeah.
Right.
But even then, that is more like, it was still crazy. And I don't think it was warranted. But it was a team that didn't make the playoffs. It was a non-playoff team.
No, I'm talking about. No, it wasn't Monty.
Oh,
the one
talking about Phoenix Suns when the Phoenix Suns fired him.
No, Detroit when they fired. Oh, oh man, I can't remember who it was. He was the coach of the year, and they fired him.
Oh, you're talking about Cleveland Cavaliers?
Was it Cleveland?
Yeah, you're talking about the coach who's at the Detroit now. I can't think of his name now.
Oh,
but you're talking about the Pistons coach now.
Okay.
Yes, and like I said, even then, yes, which was still another crazy firing. Yeah, it's a little warranted now because Cleveland's taking that next step, even though I do think that they would have took that next step regardless with the head coach, JP Bickerstaff.
Yes. But it's crazy. It's like, these NBA coaches, man, they got to be like, as soon as you get hired, you got to look over your shoulder.
Yeah.
And because you have one bad game, and it's like, you know what, I'm out.
Yeah.
You're out.
For any, if people are, if the front office is going to feel a type of way, if people start, try to connect the dots and point the finger to John Morant, how can you blame any of us? Like I said, this is something that's never happened before. This is so alarming that it had to have came from the top.
Exactly.
It had to have came from John Morant or collectively John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bain, all coming together. And I'm talking about something that happened so far gone where it was like, you got to go now.
Enough complaints.
Yeah.
And
I'm going further. There had to have been some type of real dispute.
Some happened.
Yes.
Somebody grabbed somebody.
Yeah.
Said something right.
This isn't just like just a disagreement about coaching philosophy.
No.
Because you can figure that out in the off season.
Right.
We're in the midst of about to make a playoff run. You don't make that decision now.
Mess that chemistry up. Oh my gosh.
And they can say whatever they want, that they're excited with, the new coach now and who's gonna go into his name is Tuomo Lasalo. Sounds like somebody probably came from has a European background.
Right.
So
do you think all this started though when back from when the Golden State did what they did to Mark Jackson? And do you think that was a start of when all this, because how good he built the Golden State Warriors up,
and then Steve Kerr came in,
with no coaching experience.
Yeah, I think that was definitely the first, like in this new era media where it became such of a big hoopla about coaches taking these next steps and then getting fired. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right, they're doing their
getting
job.
Fired.
Right. I think I mean in the aspect though of Mark Jackson. There were some rumblings about players weren't happy about the way his coaching style and this and that.
But at least, I agree with you.
But he was doing such a great job, and it wasn't like they were losing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you just fire them.
And you're right.
Is that the norm?
It is the new norm. But I guess my thing is between like that story and this story, at least they did it at the end of the season.
Right. Not during the season. When you do it. Right. That makes it more ludicrous when you do it not even at the end, not even in the middle of the season or the beginning, but right before the playoff run is starting.
Literally. And they're and like I said, their playoff run kind of starts now because they're still jockeying for position between 3 to 6. They could almost not make the play. They can make the
They're playing the Celtics right now.
They lost.
Yeah.
So they're right there on the cusp of being in the play-in.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So you're telling me that these stars get to make these type of decisions, sway these type of decisions like this?
Yes, because look what the money they're making. Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, it is.
Like I said,
hey, I want to address something real quick. David Stern Jr., you guys know him as Adam Silver.
Yeah.
I love it.
Had supposedly addressed the Sonics issue, non-issue, whatever you want to call it. Folks, I just want to say this. I'm out.
Pep,
I'm OUT out on the Sonics. I don't think they're coming back. And if they do come back, yes, I'll be happy. But I'm not expecting it. I don't expect it. And I'm out on even thinking about it.
Pep, these answers have been so bland for the last 3 years. I told you this.
They make no sense.
But I'm telling you, I do think it's coming. It's just there's so many counterparts that are happening on the back end. The new TV deals coming around. Now the Celtics are being sold. And that is kind of this expansion is just putting. I was just about to say, extension keeps getting put to the back burner. But I told you, I'm not getting excited anymore until
I'm done.
There is something that is concrete. There's a corner being turned that 2 teams are coming to the NBA. I'm sorry, Pep. I'm not about to sit here and wake up weekly and be like, "Oh, it's coming next year."
Well, there's only one guarantee in my eyes, and that's Vegas.
Yeah, but even then, I just don't even know when expansion is coming. Period. There's just so many things. And then he's talking about they're talking about making a league over in Europe.
Yes,
so many other things. I feel like that's more important.
Yeah,
to Adam Silver.
But they're waiting on Vegas to get that arena.
I know.
Right.
But that can still happen. They can still start this process. That can still happen.
Yeah.
It takes a year to build a stadium.
The Mariners will win us World Series before we get to
Well, we already know what that means.
Oops.
Yeah.
Quick news. Phoenix Suns season's probably over. Kevin Durant turned his ankle in the blowout loss against the Houston Rockets. He's out for the week. Yeah, I can retire my son's gear until next season.
Yeah. Well, there's always next year.
Okay, Jerry Jones.
Oh, wow. Yeah. All right, everybody. Yeah, 2 more weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
That's it.
Yeah, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Rhonda, Doreen, Bill Walker Jr., Nancy Conyer. Yes. And my guys, on behalf of Daniel O. Carter, I'm Pep. We'll see you guys next week. Holla.